Welcome back to Perkins Pipes. Friends, I can't tell you how long I've been waiting to do this episode, and if you watch this channel very much, you know that I say that an awful lot, but I get these wonderful ideas, and I think, man, I cannot wait to share them on the channel with everybody. For this one, we've got the beautiful Peterson Professor from the Sherlock Holmes line. Just look at that guy. Look at the lines on him. Man, I love the Peterson Professor. It's one of my absolute favorites in the collection. And even though we're going to be talking something Scottish, right at the Irish Peterson Professor. So, what? You know what I'm going to say, right? Let's get this guy lit, and let's get to talking. I first encountered the poem I'm going to share with you when I was a senior in high school. Our senior English class was Brit Lit, British literature. I not only fell in love with it, but I fell in love with the ballad stanza. And I remember we would often go, or not often, every Sunday really, after church, we would go about a half hour north to my grandmother's house, my mother's mother, and we'd have dinner with her. A lot of times I'd sit in the living room and do homework and that kind of thing in the afternoon. And I remember sitting in a chair in my grandmother's living room and writing my own first ballad. Don't remember what it was about at all. But I do remember being intrigued by not only the ballad stanza, but just the structure of the ballad. The ballad really tells a story, and often there's something tragic in it, and maybe a surprise ending. And man, I just loved all of that. And the one that really did it for me, that set me off to really enjoy ballads, is one that is very, very well known. It's one of the most popular of the anonymous English ballads. It was first published in 1765. Who wrote it, we really don't know. And it is the Ballad of Sir Patrick Spens. And right away, I just want to ask, do you know that one? Do you know the Ballad of Sir Patrick Spens? I'm going to ask you what you think about it later, but right now, friends, I just want to read it to you. Now, before I just do, though, there are lots of different versions of this. These things were oral, and they were written down in different ways, and there's some different word here, different word there, and so forth. This is the one that I like. The version I like the best is published in 1765. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to crave a boon from you. I'm going to ask your pardon right up front. Okay? I'm going to read this, and I know my Scottish accent is deplorable. Okay? It's bad. It's not good at all. All right? So, can we just acknowledge that right up front? And then don't leave me comments and go, Steve, boy, you really pronounced that one bad. I know, right? It's the best I can do. Well, I want to share this with you because I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. So here we go. And this ballad stanza, we'll kind of walk through a little bit of it here with you and kind of unpack it, and then we'll read through the whole thing. The first stanza goes, the king sets in Dunfermline, drinking the blood red wine. Oh, where will I get a guide sailor to sail this ship of mine? So each stanza is 4 lines. The first line is iambic tetrameter, so 4 units of that bum, unstressed, stressed rhythm of the iamb. So here's line 1. The king sits in Dunfermline town. All right, 4 syllables, or 4 units of the iamb. Lines 2 and 4 are iambic trimeter. drinking the blue red wine. So 3 units, iambic trimeter. And then you'll notice, as I read through that, lines 2 and 4 rhyme. So let's listen for that. The king sits in Dunfermline tune, drinking the blued red wine. Oh, whar will I get the guide sailor to sail the ship of mine? Wine and mine. So you've got stanzas of 4 lines, iambic tetrameter, iambic trimeter, iambic tetrameter, iambic trimeter, with lines 2 and 4 rhyming. So an A, B, C, B rhyme scheme. So that's the ballad stanza. And I like it. I like that very much. I like the regularity of it. Now here's the ballad of Sir Patrick Spens. The king sits in Dunfermline tune, drinking the blood red wine. Oh, where will I get a guide sailor to sail this ship of mine? Up in Spec and Eldernick said at the king's recknee, Sir Patrick Spens is the best sailor that sails upon the sea. The king has written a braid letter and signed it with his hand, and sent it to Sir Patrick Spens, was walking on the sand. The first line that Sir Patrick read, a loud laugh laughed he. The next line that Sir Patrick read, a tear blinded his eye. Oh, why is this has done this deed, this ill deed done to me, to send me out this time of the year, to sail upon the sea? Make haste, my merry men all, our guide ship sails the morn. Oh, say na, sir, my master dear, for I fear a deadly storm. Late yestreen I saw the new moon with the old moon in her arm, and I fear, my dear master, that we will come to harm. Oh, our Scots nobles were reclaith to eat their corkil shoon, but long o'er the play were played, their hearts they swim aboon. And long may the ladies sit, with their fans into their hand, or ere they see Sir Patrick Spens come sailing to the land. Oh, long may the ladies stand, with the gold chems in their hair, waiting for their reindeer lord, for them to see them here. Half o'er to Aberdore, 'tis 50 fathom deep, and there lies guide Sir Patrick Spens, with the Scots lords at his feet. Oh, such good stuff. Let's walk through it. So stanza 1. The king is in his town, Dunfermline. He's drinking the blood red wine. And he's got a new ship. He wants to try it out. And he says, where will I get a good sailor to sail this ship of mine? And one of his knights, an older fellow, who's sitting at the king's right knee, he says, Sir Patrick Spens is the best sailor that sails upon the sea. Fair enough. King writes this long letter and signed it with his own hand, and he sends it to Sir Patrick Spens, who, when he gets it, happens to be walking along the sand. Now, the next stanza I find really, really funny. It says, the first line that Sir Patrick read, a loud laugh laughed he. And the next line that Sir Patrick read, the tear blinded his eye. And it doesn't say what the first line was, but you can just imagine the king is probably sucking up to Sir Patrick Spens. Sir Patrick Spens, it's come to my attention that you are a really good sailor, and we would like you to sail the new royal ship, right? And Sir Patrick Spens can see through this buttering up. He can see through the nonsense, and I think that's why Sir Patrick laughs when he reads the first line. He's like, oh, good grief. But then he reads on, and he's like, oh, no. Oh, what is the king asking me to do? And he says, well, who is this that has done this deed, this ill deed done to me, to send me out this time of the year to sail upon the sea? It's not the season. It's the wrong season. It's stormy season, perhaps winter. And he knows this is a bad time to go out sailing. But what choice does he have? It's the king, right? So he gathers his crew. Make haste, my merry men all, our good ship sails the morn. One of his sailors says, basically, you got to be kidding me. He says, oh, say not so, my master dear, for I fear a deadly storm. And he explains to Sir Patrick, the captain, he says, late yesterday, I saw the new moon with the old moon in her arm. And he says, I know how to read the signs. And he says, I can tell storm is coming. And he says, I fear, my dear master. But we will come to harm. And then the narrator continues and he says, oh, the Scots nobles were right loath to wet their cork-heeled shoes. They didn't want to get even their shoes wet, the nobility. But he says, long before the play plays out, their hats will swim above them, meaning they're going to drown, they're going to wreck in this ship, and as they go down, their hats are left floating on the water above them. So here they were so afraid to even wet their shoes. Well, guys, it's going to get worse than that. You're going to die in this venture. And the narrator goes on and says, long, long may the ladies sit with their fans in their hand before they see Sir Patrick Spens come sailing to the land. In other words, the ladies are going to be waiting a long time, and he is not going to come back. And it kind of repeats it and says, long, long may the ladies stand with the gold combs in their hair, waiting for their own dear lords, for they'll see them no more. And you've got this foreboding building up. And then it says, the last stanza, halfway over to Aberdore, to Aberdeen. It's 50 fathoms deep. And there lies good Sir Patrick Spens with the Scots lords at his feet. Oh, King didn't see that one coming. And we didn't see that one coming either at the beginning of the poem. And of course, you think about, too, the way he phrases that, right? They're all at the bottom, but the Scots lords are at the feet of Sir Patrick Spens. So here they were, the nobility, like the king and his people, his court. And now they are at the feet of good Sir Patrick Spens. Oh, I love that poem. I love that poem so much. So, it's one of the reasons I've done an episode before. I mentioned the British folk band Fairport Convention. I think it's on their Liege and Leaf album. They sang Sir Patrick Spens, did a song version of it. So, talk to me. If you know it, what do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? If this is your first time to hear it, what do you think about it? Do you like story poems? Do you like story poems that maybe have a surprise ending? Do you like something that's got a little action? Maybe it's a little bit dark as well. Folks, tell us what you like about it. Tell us what you think about it. As Malcolm Guite likes to say, I do these little things in order at last to do nothing. Or as I like to say in Latin, Harva ago ut tandem, nihil agam. Have a wonderful day.